Hello students, today we are going to start with Unit 2 of first year English prescribed by the Federal Board of Intermediate and Secondary Education. It's the 2020-21 edition. I am Sadia Malik and we are going to start with this unit. It is a short story called His First Flight by Liam O. Flaherty. So first we are going to talk about the writer. The writer is an Irish short story writer. He has also written some novels as well. And the most important thing about him is that he writes about common people's experiences from their perspective. And most importantly, what he does is that he draws conclusions based on life from simple stories which are around us. So we can learn from them. For example, in this story, he has used the story of a very young bird and how he is afraid to take his first step, and how we, after reading the story, can take the lessons from it and use it in our own life. So, first of all, I'd like to give you a little summary of the story. In this story, there's a young seagull. It's a bird that you usually find around seashores. Beautiful birds with beautiful flight. But this is a story about a young seagull who was afraid to fly. And the basic reason was that he lacked self confidence and the courage to take that first step. And he was fearful of the vast expanse of sea that was waiting for him to fall into. Although his brothers and sister, who had shorter wings than him, they had taken the leap and they had flown off, but somehow he could not gather the courage to do so. And his parents and his siblings, they were trying their level best to encourage him and boost his morale so he could take that first step and he could take that first flight. But he could not find the courage to take that leap. And now it had been 24 hours that he had been hungry, and he was trying to attract the attention of his family members and his siblings, asking them to give him a little piece of food, but they were not doing so because they wanted to motivate him to try on his own. Only his mother, after some time, had some pity on him, and she cleverly used food to make him take that first step and taught him a lifelong lesson. What she did was that she brought a little piece of fish near him, and when he was about to just grab the piece of fish, she just stepped away. And that made him take that first jump into the air, that made him take his first flight. So, this is how he started to fly. Once he was in the air, he realized that there was nothing to be afraid of. And he always had that instinct to fly because he was a bird, so he was meant to fly and he had the wings to do so. So, the main idea of the story is that sometimes you need your moral courage to do something, to take that first step. You physically have all what you need. For example, the seagull had the wings to do so, and he had wings which were even larger than the wings of his brothers and sister. But even then, what he was actually lacking was courage and self confidence. So, if you look at this, the main idea of the story is that every first step in life needs courage and self confidence. And to cover a distance of 100 miles, you need to start with the first step. And it is the first step which is always very difficult to take. Once you take it, then the journey becomes easier. But you need to find that self confidence and then courage that comes from within. Nobody can do it for you. You have to do it on your own. And ultimately, it is your own efforts that can lead you to the path of success. At the end, the young seagull could fly because he himself made an effort or an attempt to do so. So, in the life also, people can help you and people can support you, but as far as taking that first step is concerned, you need to do it yourself. Nobody can do it for you. And you have to find the courage within your heart to do so. Now, as far as themes are concerned, there are a number of themes or number of main ideas that you can find in this story. But the most important is the importance of self-belief and self-confidence. Now, self-belief is something that you have in yourself. For example, you believe that you can do something, and that kind of self-confidence can make you take that first step. The second one is that you need to have motivation and ambition in your life. That is some goal that you have in life. For example, the seagull ultimately had to take that flight because he wanted food badly and because he was hungry for more than 24 hours. So that was his motivation to fly. So similarly, we all need some ambition, some goal, some motivation in our life that pushes us forward and compels us to take that first step. And then another theme is that life is full of firsts. And we need courage to take these steps in our life. It is the first time that you went to college. It's the first time you studied a certain subject. It's the first time that you entered university. It's the first time you had a job. It is the first time that you had a relationship in life. So life is full of firsts. And whenever there is a first, you need that courage in yourself to take that first step. And the only thing that usually stop us from taking that first step is not our inability to do something, but the fear. And what is this fear? The fear is about failure. What if we fail? Or fear of the outcome. What if we don't get what we want? And the fear of an unwanted result. What if we try and still fail? So these are the things that make you stop and make you self-doubt. And you always asking about the ability, that whether I can do it or not. So the fear has to be overcome. So the next important point that we get from this story is, once we overcome that fear and trust our abilities, both physical and mental, then there is no stopping. For example, going back to the story, the seagull had the physical ability to fly. He had the instinct, he had the wings, he had wings longer and larger than his siblings. But what he was lacking was the mental strength, the mental ability. So once you overcome that, then obviously there is no stopping you. And the last but not the least is the importance of good parenting. Sometimes parents have to be a little strict, a little rigid. And at that time, it might feel cruel that why are they doing this to us? But the end goal at the end is to make you do the things on your own, and to make you believe in yourself. Similarly, here, the mother seagull very cleverly used food to tempt the little baby bird to fly. So it was not cruel of her that she let him go hungry for 24 hours, but this was one way of training him that if you want to eat food, you have to come and get it yourself. So sometimes parents have to be a little strict with their children in order for them to learn that in life, parents are not always going to be there, and they have to decide what is right and wrong for themselves, and they have to train their mind to have that self-confidence and self-belief to make decisions for themselves. Parents cannot do them for you forever. So this is the story and how it goes on and gives you all these life lessons from it. And then if we come to answer the questions that are at the end of your chapter, the first question was, why did the young seagull have to join the company of his family? Obviously, he had been on the ledge for 24 hours and he was hungry. He had nothing to eat. There's a line in which it is said that he even tried to eat the eggshell from which he had hatched some time ago. So he had virtually nothing. There were some bones left on the ledge. So the most important motivation that he had to join the family was that he wanted food. So that is why it is written that young seagull was the only one left on the ledge. His two brothers and a sister had already flown away. He had to join his family because he had been hungry for 24 hours and he wanted some food. The next is, why don't his parents and sibling give him food? So the ultimate answer is to make him try himself. They didn't give him any food because they wanted him to fly and get the food himself. They knew that if they gave him food, he would never try to fly. So it would be more like spoon feeding and he would never try on his own. So that is why they never gave him food. What was the attitude of the family towards the young seagull? Was it agreeable to you or not? So we just talked about it, that the attitude of family may seem a little cruel to the hungry baby seagull, but sometimes this type of attitude is necessary to push an unwilling person in the right direction. It was only due to sheer hunger that the seagull had to make his jump. So on the surface, the attitude might seem very rigid and cruel, that why are they making him starve? But it was the only way to tempt him with food. So they used food as a bait, and the mother actually used it after 24 hours. She was sure that now he cannot survive without it, and that is the time that she actually used the food to bait him and to make him jump. Describe in your own words the feeling and action and thoughts of the young seagull soon after his fall. Obviously, when he fell down, there are lines and words which says that his heart actually sank with fear, because that was what he was afraid of falling down. And we could feel the fear that he felt before he opened his wings and realized that he could fly. Once he started to fly, we all felt happy for him. So obviously when he was falling down, we also were fearing the panic and the fear that he was feeling. We could also feel it. But once he opened his wing and he realized that he could actually float and he could actually fly with the help of wings, we were also very happy with him, because the story is written in such a nice way that we feel what the seagull is feeling. Now, what could be the author's purpose behind writing the story? So, this is the purpose, the main idea, the themes that we talked about. So, usually, when the writers are writing short stories, they actually have an aim in mind. They are trying to have sometimes a moral lesson that they need to give out, and sometimes they want to make a point through the character. So, here he has used the birds and their fears and their life experiences to teach us a very important lesson also. So the story is about one's fear of taking the first step in life. It also stresses the need of bravery, courage, and trust in one's ability. So as we discussed earlier, the life is full of firsts, and we always have to make a decision, and there's always a fear of whether we should take that first step or not. And he also stresses that the only thing that we need at that time is bravery, courage, and trust in our own ability. So once we have that, then obviously we can do anything in life. Compare and contrast the attitude of the family members before and after the flight of the young seagull. Obviously, when the story starts, we realize that nobody is talking to him and he's alone on the ledge. So we realize that they were quite rigid towards him. Before the flight, the young seagull was left alone at the ledge. He was not given any food. Even when he called his family, the others didn't help him. After his flight, of course, things changed. The family gathered around him, screeching and screaming shrilly to encourage him, and they were flying with him, and they were also offering him fish to eat towards the end. So it's more like a celebration at the end. And this kind of attitude is necessary if you want people to learn their lessons, especially if they are reluctant and you know that they can do it, but still they can't because they are self doubting. So sometimes you need to be a little rigid, a little strict with these kind of people if you are actually kind to them. So this is one way of helping them also. Identify the sentence in the first paragraph which shows cause and effect. Cause and effect is something happened and then it led to something else. So I found this sentence in the first paragraph. He felt certain that his wings would never support him. So he bent his head and ran away back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. So the cause is obviously that he believed that his wing would never support him, and once he takes the step, he's going to fall down into the ocean and drown. So that was the cause. And what was the effect? So he bent his head and ran away. So obviously, he lost his confidence and he could not take that first step. So this is a sentence in which you have a cause and effect. Cause and effect is usually denoted by the words because or so or that's why, etc. So you're looking for these kind of conjunctions or transitional devices to tell you that there is a cause and effect going on in a certain sentence. So students, this was Unit 2, his first flight, from the first year English book, the new book that we have this year, 2020 and 2021. If you have any more questions, you can ask in the comments. And if you want to listen to the story and improve your pronunciation, there is another video that I have made, and you can find it on my page, and you can listen to it to improve your pronunciation of the words that you are reading for the very first time. Thank you.